Bob's training has been substantial just for me because I was just a boss. Now I'm a leader. And before this started, before any of Bob's training I'd gone through, we had challenges. But with Bob's training, we got motivation, got a sense of urgency. And again, like I said, leaders don't just tell others what, when, and where to do it. That's a boss. Leader reinforces the mission, provides support, especially during the tough times.
They were violating permits, things like that. People were at each other's throats, and the leadership of Client A just didn't know what to do. I don't know what Bob's going to do, but I want to see this thing work. And then when I saw when he shared the results of it, I was blown away by it. And that is what Bob Donaldson does the best. He improves the perspective of value to people.
The first thing you are facing is an uphill climb. You need help. You cannot do this alone. The first person I thought about was Bob, who basically lives and breathes a philosophy that I like. Bob's points were spot on. The philosophy that I like to coach and preach. I can't be everywhere at once. Bob, his training met those expectations, and that coaching was strong as I needed in those areas.
And like Bob said, it's the science behind it. There's actual science behind this. This is not just a bunch of flighty ideas. This is actual application of science to techniques mixed in with fundamental good principles of a leader. Real steps, real tangible actions that you can not only practice, but you can perfect. Drills down deeper than a lot of my management classes in MBA school did. Step by step, gives you techniques. They're tangible. They're real things that people can do and not just kind of blow off and say, well, that'd be great, but that's in a perfect world. No, it's structured around the real world. And I think that's kind of the overlying techniques. It's an instruction manual that if you follow those techniques, you're guaranteed to be successful. It's extremely powerful. Good stuff.
Watching Bob implement smaller group teams, being able to have a focus on this is what our agenda is, this is what our mission is, this is the culture we want. Speaking as a representative, always demonstrating to his team about how to come together, how to create structure and processes to where people are empowered. Bob's check down with folks and having meetings with them, and always asking, what can I continue, improve, start, stop doing to make his staff, his teams successful? Always asking that in a repetitive nature. I think the other thing that I always liked about that I'm watching Bob implement, he always wanted folks to have a positive time, to laugh, to be lighthearted, be focused on what was, what were the critical boulders in the road, very strategic. I believe he uses the term black swan every once in a while, but really to empower people to be comfortable and to bring their concerns in a way, in a tone that's constructive to the group, but lean into it and be forward thinking and problem solving, and know that they were empowered to be able to make decisions.
Is a step-by-step successful approach. It's very pragmatic. It's very simple and easy to follow. Be respectful. That's what I really like about this quick start thing is, man, you could really start working on improving relationships you have with other team members that you have, with your supervisor, figuring out where you land, because it's just as much about learning about yourself so you know how you can best fit in the organization. And one of the things that I don't think I've ever seen in any book I've ever read up until now are these quick start steps. Bob has laid out literally a recipe with easy, simple follow steps that you just have to kind of work your way through. And you don't, and it's not all at once, not one giant bite that you're taking at this apple. You could start at the very basic level and immediately you'll learn something that will help, that you could use the very next day in helping your development and your growth. One thing I think comes out of starting now recipes is the training aspect, right? So a lot of times we will move a very highly technical person into a managerial position. And to me, without any training, that person is just sort of thrown out there to figure things out on their own. They'll watch different videos on how to be a manager, and I think Bob lays out some very interesting training methods to go in there and really allow people to figure out what it is you want to be trained on. It's that skill set training. Bob brings that up a couple of times in there. Figuring out what it is that you want to train that person on or that employee on.
Again, nobody was doing this in the whole company. Nobody was doing this. This was new. Another thing that Bob did was he implemented and initiated a form that he would hand out to people so they could request training of things that they felt they needed training in. Bob implemented very regular meetings, weekly, bi-weekly, and he would sit the whole crew down. He'd sit down with them, say, hey, how things going? Everything going okay? Are there any problems out there? What can we do to solve these problems? Is there anything that you're doing in your daily job that we can do differently to improve your day-to-day job? One of the other things Bob did is he implemented a full-blown training program. This included not only skills training, supervisor training, leadership training, workplace culture and behavior training. One of the aspects in all these meetings that was a constant theme, it was always discussed, always on topic, was how we treat each other. That was in that shift expectations meeting that was held at the beginning of the shift period. How you treated each other was an expectation.
Bob's style is not to shine the spotlight. I'm the leader, and here's what we're going to do, everybody. It's very subtle. It's organic. It's friendly. And I keep saying, roll up your sleeves and get in the trenches with everybody and work through the problems and the issues together. I found that Bob's style is very collaborative just by nature, and that makes the team feel cohesive and feel like they're heard and feel like they're going in the same direction.
It was bad on a personal level where people's vehicles were being damaged. It was bad where their personal belongings inside locker rooms were being damaged and people had to start locking their lockers. Things don't heal by themselves. They don't get better. And if you just let them cook, they're going to boil over. And eventually that's what happened. I mean, people started leaving. The good people we had, we couldn't keep. And I know I've already said it, but I just didn't want to go into work any longer. It got to the point where I was looking for work elsewhere, and I know other people were as well. Bob was the first one to open communications with them. And all of a sudden, production just started taking off. And it was more than that. When Mr. Donaldson came in, people could come to work expecting to have a day just to deal with the problems of the workplace, not the drama taking place in somebody else's lives. And that came through accountability. And accountability was the beginning of trust. During that time, I became an expert at fixing departments. I took much of what I learned from Bob and the years we spent together. Matter of fact, that was the foundation for everything that I did.
I think what happened, Bob empowered each person to have the authority to make decisions. It makes the job exciting, fulfilling, getting the ability to succeed on something is fulfilling, and fulfilling is what you would like your job to be. Being fulfilled is a pretty important aspect of life. That was one of the things you always felt like you were supported, and when you were done, it was exciting, and you were able to do things that you didn't think were possible, and when you first started them, and then you just came through, and next thing you know, people are really happy.
My name is John Schwartz. I'm the owner and founder of JHS Consulting. And
my name is Ken Lindbergh, founder.
My name is Carl Royer. I self-Bayside System Authority, now Silicon Valley.
John Mahoney. I'm a principal with Tanner Pacific.
I'm Jeff Carson. My last position was operations director.
EJ Shelby, senior advisor for DNS Strategic Partners, LLC.
David Hall, the position that I held was the operations director.
Todd Beecher, president of Beecher Engineering Incorporated.
My name is Gerald Fedgerang, currently client director for Kennedy James Consulting Firm.
My name is Sean Quinlan. I'm the mechanical superintendent for Dublin One Services District.